Francis Gary Powers was an American pilot whose Central Intelligence Agency U-2 spy plane was shot down while flying a reconnaissance mission over Soviet Union airspace, causing the 1960 U-2 incident. Early life: Powers was born in Jenkins, Kentucky, to Oliver and Ida Powers. He grew up in Pound, Virginia, just across the state border. Graduating from Milligan College in Tennessee, in 1950, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force. After completing his training, Powers was assigned to the 468th Strategic Fighter Squadron at Turner Air Force Base, Georgia, as an F-84 Thunderjet pilot. According to his son, he did not fly combat missions during the Korean War, because he was recruited by the CIA for his outstanding record in single-engine jet aircraft. By 1960, Powers was already a veteran of many covert aerial reconnaissance missions. The U-2 incident. Powers was discharged from the Air Force in 1956 with the rank of captain. He then joined the CIA's U-2 program at the civilian grade of GS-12. U-2 pilots flew espionage missions using an aircraft that could reach altitudes above 70,000 feet, making it invulnerable to Soviet anti-aircraft weapons of the time. The U-2 was equipped with a state-of-the-art camera designed to take high-resolution photos from the edge of the stratosphere over hostile countries, including the Soviet Union. U-2 missions systematically photographed military installations and other important sites. Soviet intelligence was aware of encroaching U-2 flights since 1956 but lacked effective countermeasures until 1960. On May 1, Powers a unregistered trademark U-2, which departed from a military airbase in Peshawar, Pakistan with support from the U.S. air station at Badaba, was shot down by an S-75 Bina surface-to-air missile over Sverdlovsk. Powers was unable to activate the plane's self-destruct mechanism before he bailed out and was captured. Powers' U-2 plane was hit by the first missile fired. A total of 8 were launched. One of them hit a MiG-19 jet fighter which was sent to intercept the U-2 but could not reach a high enough altitude. Its pilot, Sergei Safronov, ejected but died of his injuries. Another Soviet aircraft, a newly manufactured Su-9 in-transit flight, also attempted to intercept Powers' U-2. The unarmed Su-9 was directed to ram the U-2 but missed because of the large differences in speed. In the Skunk Works, Powers claimed that upon ejecting he saw the parachute of another pilot deploy behind him. When the U.S. government learned of Powers' disappearance over the Soviet Union, they issued a cover statement claiming a weather plane had strayed off course after its pilot had difficulties with his oxygen equipment. What CIA officials did not realize was that the plane crashed almost fully intact, and the Soviets recovered its equipment. Powers was interrogated extensively by the KGB for months before he made a confession and a public apology for his part in espionage. The incident set back talks between Khrushchev and Eisenhower. On August 17, 1960, Powers was convicted of espionage against the Soviet Union and was sentenced to a total of 10 years, 3 years in imprisonment followed by 7 years of hard labor. He was held in Vladimir's Central Prison, 100 miles east of Moscow. The prison contains a small museum with an exhibit on Powers, who allegedly developed a good rapport with Russian prisoners there. Some pieces of the plane and Powers' uniform are on display at the Munino Air Base Museum near Moscow. On February 10, 1962, Powers was exchanged, along with American student Frederick Pryor, in a well-publicized spy swap at the Glienicke Bridge in Berlin. The exchange was for Soviet KGB Colonel William Fisher, known as Rudolf Abel, who had been caught by the FBI and tried in jail for espionage. In 2010, CIA documents were released indicating that American officials did not believe Powers' account of the incident at the time, because it was contradicted by a classified National Security Agency report. However, newly released declassified CIA documents confirm the accuracy of Powers' report. The NSA report remains classified. Aftermath: Powers initially received a cold reception on his return home. Initially, he was criticized for having failed to activate his aircraft unregistered trademark S self-destruct charge to destroy the camera, photographic film, and related classified parts of his aircraft before his capture. He was also criticized for not using an optional CIA-issued suicide pill to kill himself. After being debriefed extensively by the CIA, Lockheed, and the Air Force, on March 6, 1962, Powers appeared before a Senate Armed Services Select Committee hearing chaired by Senator Richard Russell and including Senators Prescott Bush and Barry Goldwater Sr. It was determined that Powers had followed orders, had not divulged any critical information to the Soviets, and had conducted himself as a fine young man under dangerous circumstances. Powers worked for Lockheed as a test pilot from 1963 to 1970. In 1970, he co-wrote a book called Operation Overflight, a memoir of the U-2 incident. Lockheed fired him, it was widely believed, because the book cast negative publicity on the CIA. Powers became an airborne traffic reporter for radio station KGIL Los Angeles. A fixed-wing pilot, he was then hired by television station KNBC to pilot their telecopter, a helicopter equipped with externally mounted 360-degree cameras. The telecopter had been in service for years, and was purchased from KTLA, Channel 5. In 1976, Powers' biography became a television movie, Francis Gary Powers, The True Story of the U-2 Spy Incident. Lee Majors played the role of Powers. Fatal crash, Powers died in 1977 in an accident. He had been covering brush fires in Santa Barbara County. As he returned, his Bell 206 Jet Ranger helicopter, registered N4TV, ran out of fuel and crashed in the Sepulveda Dam Recreation Area several miles short of Burbank Airport. The National Transportation Safety Board report attributed the probable cause of the crash to pilot error. According to Powers' son, an aviation mechanic had repaired a faulty fuel gauge without telling Powers, who misread it. At the last moment he noticed children playing in the area, and directed the helicopter elsewhere to avoid landing on them. If not for the last-second deviation, which compromised his autorotative descent, he might have landed safely. Powers was survived by his wife, 2 children, Dee and Francis Gary Powers Jr., and 5 sisters. Powers is buried in Arlington National Cemetery as an Air Force veteran. Honors: Powers received the CIA's Intelligence Star in 1965 after his return from the Soviet Union. Powers was originally scheduled to receive it in 1963 along with other pilots involved in the CIA's U-2 program, but the award was postponed for political reasons. In 1970, Powers published his first and only a book review, on a work about aerial reconnaissance, Unarmed and Unafraid by Glenn Infield, in the monthly magazine, Business and Commercial Aviation. "The subject has great interest to me," he said, in submitting his review. In 1998, newly declassified information revealed that Powers' unregistered trademark mission had been a joint USAF-CIA operation. In 2000, on the 40th anniversary of the U-2 incident, his family was presented his posthumously awarded Prisoner of War Medal, Distinguished Flying Cross, and National Defense Service Medal. In addition, CIA Director George Tenet authorized Powers to posthumously receive the CIA's coveted Director's Medal for extreme fidelity and extraordinary courage in the line of duty. On June 15, 2012, Powers was posthumously awarded the Silver Star Medal for demonstrating exceptional loyalty while enduring harsh interrogation in the Lubyanka prison in Moscow for almost 2 years. Air Force Chief of Staff General Norton Schwartz presented the decoration to Powers' unregistered trademark grandchildren, Trey Powers, 9, and Lindsay Berry, 29, in a Pentagon ceremony. Legacy: Powers' son, Francis Gary Powers Jr., founded a museum of Cold War history in 1996. Affiliated with the Smithsonian Institution, it was essentially a traveling exhibit until it found a permanent home in 2011 on a former Army communications base outside Washington. References, notes. Further reading: Khrushchev, Sergei and Nikita Khrushchev and the Creation of a Superpower. State College, Pennsylvania, Penn State Press, 2000. ISBN 978-0-271-01927-7. Powers, Francis Gary with Gentry, Kurt. Operation Overflight. Hodder and Stoughton Limited, 1971. ISBN 978-0-340-14823-5. Potomac Book, 2002. ISBN 978-57488-422-7. West, Nigel. 7 Spies Who Changed the World. London, Secker and Wahlberg, 1991. London, Mandarin, 1992. The Trial of the U-2, exclusive authorized account of the court proceedings of the case of Francis Gary Powers, heard before the Military Division of the Supreme Court of the USSR, Moscow, August 17-18, 1960. Translation World Publishers, Chicago, 1960. Powers, F.G., Gentry, C. Operation Overflight, a memoir of the U-2 incident. http www.amazon.com/1,574,884,220. External links, CIA FOIA documents on Gary Powers, documents and photographs regarding the U-2 spy plane incident of 1960, Dwight D. Eisenhower Presidential Library, check-6.com, The Crash of Francis Gary Powers. Hello, transcripts of the Soviet court trial, 1962. Russia frees U.S. spy plane pilot, view images of the Francis Gary Powers U-2 pilot. Cinderella stamps on the artist's website. IMDb page for the 1976 TV movie.